who's the president of the American Immigration Lawyers Association, and is an immigration chair at the National Bar Association as well. And he joins us live from Eagleville in Tennessee. A pivotal case we were just hearing there from Shihab. Why is that?
I think it's very confusing right now. Our courts and our immigration system are in a disarray between a fight between the executive branch and our Constitution with regards to how we treat foreign nationals in this country.
We can see that this case is being by some that are opposing it as a real test to American freedom of expression. Is this what this is really about?
I think it's a larger issue. So a couple of things we should remind ourselves of is that Mr. Khalil was arrested on March 8th. The activities surrounding what brought Mr. Khalil before the government were sometime in 2024. So between 2024 and the election of a new president and his executive order, there were no issue with him causing a great disregard to our Constitution. He was arrested by plainclothes officers in front of his pregnant wife in the United States in our housing. So he didn't really commit a threat. So the reason for him to be in detention really does not sound well to me. It is unlawful to have him there under my session because in most cases, he would be given a trial date and he would show up and sort of argue his case. When they arrested him, they thought he was a student and he was in fact a green card holder and had been a green card holder for some time. So all those inconsistencies show me that our government really didn't do the detailed work it would show to show if he was really a concern for this country, because if he was really concerned, they would know his immigration status.
We have, at the same time as all of this is happening, there's an American of Salvadorian origin that was deported under the Trump administration. There are now, and he had special protection of not to be able to return back to Salvador. What is happening here? Because it's not just about the situation with protests on campuses. There's also a wider crackdown on people deemed to be a threat to the country. This is as per US President Donald Trump's words. It seems to be a lot more than, as you were saying, just freedom of speech. And can you legally do this to send someone out of the US that already has that residency?
So the Supreme Court said that you could not. I mean, that's part of what the Supreme Court has really decided, that without due process, none of these individuals should have been removed from the United States. And that came down late yesterday evening. And so they're sort of arguing that right now in front of a court of what is DOJ going to put forward. But I think we should think about this in a broader picture of the rise of this new administration and how they basically said they were going after immigrants and they were going to get the worst of the worst. Unfortunately, that's not what we're seeing. And we're not seeing people who are undocumented getting caught up in these big deportations. We're seeing people who are documented lose their documentation and be removed. There are some 5,000 students who have lost their status, some of them with notification, some of them without, but all of them without due process to have a conversation about exactly what happened at the very basis of this. And the primary thing is what was actually said from the reporter is that the use of this rule could not be used just for thoughts alone, right? There needs to be some real illegal action that took place. In the instant case with Khalil, we're talking about actions that took place in 2024. With the other individual, he had already been through an immigration proceedings, the El Salvadorian. The immigration judge has already said, okay, great, he's not a threat. We're going to let him remain here in the United States. He cannot be deported to this specific country. And then they removed him to the specific country that he could not be removed to. And all of those things were done under the auspice of our government. And with our civil rights and our liberties and security, we need to pay attention to details. And those details were missed in both cases. One was a green card holder, and the other one that he could not be removed to that country. And that's why due process isn't so important, because if you have due process, you don't make these type of mistakes.
And Alan, you're saying that the attention is in the detail. I know from what I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that in the US, different states have different legalities and legal systems in place.
Well, this is the great thing about immigration. Immigration is a national program with regards to what rules someone could break. Those are state-based, but they all roll up into the federal law. So immigration is a federal program that is administrated through Congress. So right now what we have happening is the executive branch trying to make laws about immigration when it really should be Congress. So the law is the same across this country. What happens, and while this individual and many of these individuals are removed from the East Coast to go to Louisiana, is because then they wind up in another federal jurisdiction of court where the judges aren't as favorable to foreign nationals, and they get quicker results against foreign nationals in that. So that's a little bit of form shopping. And that's the issue why you saw the challenges in both of these cases for the individuals being removed out of their jurisdiction for adjudication of their cases.
Okay, thank
which
you.
is unlawful.
Yeah, okay. Thanks very much, Alan Orr, for your thoughts there. President of the American Immigration Lawyers Association.